a reaction to a pollutant that they're putting in?
I literally can see the changes of alcohol and cigarette smoke. You could see changes inside the lining of the intestine that interferes with absorption. The lining of the intestine is just filled with these little finger-like, what we call villi, that help us absorb nutrients from the foods that we eat, vitamins from the foods that we eat. Those can be blunted from
Lucky Boys Podcast.
As soon as they become parents, they stop smoking.
And let me just add something to that. It's a true statistic, it's clinically proven, is people who have stopped smoking for 15 years, their risk of lung cancer and other cardiovascular or lung-related risks, health risks related to smoking returns to the same as the general population if you truly stop. So if you smoked for 50 years of your life, but stop from 60 to 75 and continue let's say you stopped at 60 after smoking since you were 15 years old. Once you hit 75, your risk has gone back down to the same person that 75 that never smoked a cigarette in their life. Yeah. So I try to encourage all my friends who are thinking about it. I said, stop now. 15 years, it'll be as if you never smoked.
What? I did not know that. I used to smoke.
Yeah,
Since I started as a teenager.
Yeah, whenever you're ready to stop completely. So, when you're 50, you're going to be the same risk as anybody else that never smoked, which is a huge statistic.
Well, I quit for over a decade now.
So you got 5 more years, and it'll be as if you never smoked.
What happens if you kind of do one cigarette every so often?
Even one cigarette is still, it's not as bad as a whole pack or half a pack, but it's still adding pollutants to your lung, and it increases the risk of lung cancer for sure. Mm-hmm. And just the body's inflammatory response to having the nicotine and the cigarette smoke is just, it's not good.
Now, is vaping bad?
Vaping's not that recommended either. A lot of vapes have tobacco in it too. They have different. You're still putting foreign substances into your lungs, and it might not be the actual substance that's going into your lungs, but it's the body's natural inflammatory response to sensing foreign smoke or objects that ultimately leads to this chronic inflammatory process. It's known as the cytokine pathway that happens on a microscopic level. It's almost as if you're drinking every day. You said your muscles ached sometimes if you drank too much.
It would take longer to heal, so I would feel sore longer.
Right. Even one cigarette, it's better to not at all, and even to avoid vaping, even hookah, I like hookah. I ain't gonna lie.
A lot of people,
once in a while.
This is not the podcast people want to listen to.
Man.
That wants to have fun. They're like, you're telling me I can't eat, I can't drink, I can't smoke.
I smoke. Sometimes I smoke cigars too. So
you could I smoke cigars sometimes. Yeah. Hookah sometimes. Do everything in moderation.
Right. Yeah.
But just keep your body active and find something consistent. If you like laser tag, do that. At least you're running around.
So what happens to the body? Like, what do you see when you're operating on people? Is a lot of these diseases that you're addressing inside their body a reaction to a pollutant that they're putting in?
I literally can see the changes of alcohol and cigarette smoke. You could see changes inside the lining of the intestine that interferes with absorption. The lining of the intestine is just filled with these little finger-like, what we call villi, that help us absorb nutrients from the foods that we eat, vitamins from the foods that we eat. Those can be blunted from, different insults to the body, from too much pain medications like ibuprofen to alcohol to cigarette smoke. And it's all down to these things cause an inflammatory response by the body. It's no different than COVID. People unfortunately passed from COVID. It's not the virus itself necessarily killing people. It's the body's inflammatory response to the foreign virus. It's called sepsis and or a septic response or an inflammatory response. People die from pneumonia from a bacteria because of the body's natural inflammatory response to trying to kill that bacteria.
So it's overreacting.
It's almost your body's overreacting. I see a lot of patients with liver disease who have a lot of what we call fatty liver. There's a lot of fat that just coats the outside of the liver. Fat is just as irritating to the liver as too much alcohol or, let's say, hepatitis B or hepatitis C. And the treatment for that is physical activity. I've literally seen patients come in to me with weird blood work. They have elevated liver numbers because their liver's so elevated and it's releasing, liver cells into the blood, and we can detect that. And they don't feel well. On ultrasound, their liver is filled with fat. And then I say, listen, man, you got to go and be active. If you can, if you can run around at least twice a week, it's going to help. I've seen my patients with tremendous results. They drop 10 pounds over 3-4 months, and their liver looks better. There's less fat. Their liver numbers get better. And what's most importantly, as we had talked about earlier, is they mentally, physically feel better about themselves. And what does that do? That motivates them to do it even more. I was at the Brooklyn Nets game last week with a friend of mine, and he hadn't really worked out. He let himself go, in his words, and he's been working out again for 6 months. He looks better. He has more confidence. He feels better. He can't wait to get to the restaurant to talk to a girl.
He can't wait to be out there.
Yeah. And he just, looking at him, I'm happy that he's more confident, and I'm happy that he's feeling much better. But just the way you interact with him, his energy is better. You can't explain it other than if you spend time with him.
Yeah.
And so, physical activity.
So inactivity is a real big killer.
Oh, it's a big killer. It's the biggest
Self-esteem,
killer in the
health,
United
life.
States. Obesity, high cholesterol, obesity. Think about it. The analogy I like to is, I don't know if you guys know Greg Oden. He was a center.
Yes. Number one pick over KD.
What a talent, right? But the body, on the inside, we all have the same bones. The body, unfortunately, naturally is not designed to withstand 300 pounds of 7-foot weight. That's why Yao Ming had to retire early. He fractured his foot. But what a talent. And it goes with the same thing is, all our body structures, it's not meant to withstand, no matter how tall you are, it's not meant to withstand 295 pounds or 280 pounds. So as people, and to go back, the heart, everybody's heart physically in general is more or less the same size, the same weight. The heart is not designed to pump blood against a resistance of
Wait, so if you're 7 feet.
I think your heart's definitely bigger, but
Okay.
I think the way the human body was revolutionized is that's why there's more injuries and fractures, non-contact fractures with some of these big men is there's the human body, the structure, the bones and the joints are not meant to withstand so much weight and force. And these 7-footers, I'm just using them as an example, it's not like they're standing there. They're putting 100 times the weight on their joints and their bones when they're going to make a move to go to the basket to score a
Or
basket.
someone who has just ungodly gifts where they can move incredibly fast, like Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose, yeah.
He's not 7 foot. He is just incredible athletic. I would argue that him or Westbrook may be the most athletic point guards ever in the history of the NBA. But because Derrick Rose was just at a whole insane level that we've ever seen, a lot of people say that contributed to his knees being damaged.
Yeah. The force of movements and the cutting that he did, amazing. But it's so much force.
But structurally, the human body is not built to last if we keep putting mileage on it.
Exactly.